Okay, we were talking about, coming back to talk about race, gender, and religion. And, you know, religion is always something that is a pretty sensitive topic, especially for those who've been really raised in it. It keeps them very close to their family, and they have a lot of understanding. They attend a lot of services, or they share beliefs and all kinds of things. It's a very tight-knit situation. And if you were to walk away from that, chances are it would have an impact on your relationship with your family. Now, I was raised in it. My mother had some strong religious ties as a child, but she kind of evolved into a different mindset. My father was skeptical from the get-go. His grandmother was very religious, but he was skeptical from the get-go, and so religion for him wasn't really any big draw. Not any of my siblings ever became or felt connected to any strong religious affiliations, and most of my nieces and nephews have followed that. I have a couple of, relatives and the nieces and nephews that had some religious upbringing that they felt, resonated with them, but for the most part, not at all. Now, in that being said, you would think they would be more open to my understanding now, but not necessarily. They prefer not to really look at anything. So that's just, their personal choice. I don't know if they have a belief in any one thing at all, which is okay too. The universe still, doesn't care. So religion is a man-made concept, and I'm not saying it was started with ill intention at all, or that you have to abandon it to have spiritual growth or understanding. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is strong beliefs in religion where you believe in heaven and hell, Satan and God, wrong and right, the duality concepts that occur anytime you're in any kind of conscripted belief system definitely have an impact on your emotional diet and status and how you perceive and make energy and send it out to a cellular level, because you have to be keenly aware of judgment at any time that you are accepting sin as a possibility and a consequence to follow it. So, truthfully, if you're doing things and you're thinking guilt at any time, which is a big motivator in a lot of family connections and religious connections, that's not the healthiest of things to digest. Guilt, and there are some religions that jokingly, claim to be better at it than any others. Jewish mothers, Catholics, different groups say, guilt is the cornerstone of which they were raised. Well, guilt is sort of an unhealthy emotion to eat a lot of, because guilt means that you're waiting for a judgment. If you're waiting for a judgment, even though the divine will not bring a judgment, you will get one, because you're going to bring what you need to sustain your belief concepts. So you are kind of opening yourself up to some events in your life that could be a little lower. Now, as it relates to race and religions that are seen often as race-connected religions, and that's not to say they really are, but there is a kind of concept, especially within those in the confines of the United States, that the Muslim religion occurs in this far-off place with the Arabs and, some different countries over there that have a certain look. And we tend to think anyone that has that look, at first we're suspicious that they also have that belief system. Now, those belief systems aren't any more or less right or wrong in the universal scheme than any other. But some of the religious affiliations, some Christian groups as well, really do put a lot of emphasis on aggressive protection of their belief, which is only a fear. It's only the manifestation of a fear But that fear is something that you're digesting on a regular basis. So if you see someone in a burqa or in a long gown or whatever, and you think, and you're not at a formal party, so it's not evening wear, then you might immediately have a leap in your mind, you know, that if you're traveling, you want to check under their seat. You begin to be suspicious because some past behaviors have been, you know, brought forward, that they are cleansing the earth by killing anyone who they can deem to be infidels or those that don't believe what they believe. So we have people entrenched in their beliefs to such a degree that they believe the only way to secure their belief is to get rid of anybody that doesn't believe it. Now, I find that humorous on many levels. Some I'm not going into, but the one most obvious is, if your belief is so true, why don't I believe it suddenly too? Why isn't there just irrefutable evidence to support it? I know you think there is, and you could try to show me it, but I wouldn't be motivated to believe it on any level. Why would you need to kill me to protect it? If it's true, and that's what the divine wants to have come forward, Allah, you know, the creator, the prime creator, source, whatever name you have for creative energy. If that's the truth of the universe and of creation, then wouldn't you automatically sort of get a pass or a buy and be protected and not really be required to go kill everyone else? And wouldn't there be more points scored by, you know, conscripting others to your thought process than by terminating their existence? That always kind of threw me. So I wasn't quite clear on why that seemed like the best plan to protect the purity of your belief system. To me, it only speaks of fear because you don't want to be threatened by anything else. And when I hear of people that want to argue, you know, they want to first discuss their religion. And we begin a religious discussion, and when they don't say the first 3 or 4 things that they think are so obvious and evident that I don't swoop over to their side, then they begin to speak more quickly. They begin to speak in a way that doesn't allow you to finish the sentence, and they cut you off, and they want to keep quoting things over and over and over and over, so that it's almost like a child that sticks their fingers in their ears and says, la 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 la, you don't want to hear it, or sticks out their tongue because they no longer are open. And to me, when that occurs, it's not really offensive. I'm not wounded, and I don't, you know, feel any strong need to, you know, run over them. That's their choice. When I say anything in a video that someone doesn't like, they're free to turn it off. When I speak to a large group, and I'm engaging, you know, 50, 100, 150 people, and they don't care to hear what it is that I'm telling them, there is never a locked door policy that they couldn't leave the facility and take off. There's always an interactive time in live conversation when I'm speaking where people can ask questions and bring forth and say what it is they want to say. It doesn't always come out in their mind, it may, but to those listening to them, they may not make the point the way they think they made it. But I think it's important that everybody be allowed the opportunity to try to express what it is they believe and have the opportunity to try to get others to hear them. Sometimes we don't hear what it is we're saying until we've tried to say it to someone else, or someone else comes back with us and makes us really rethink a position. I've had many positions clarified or shifted slightly by information that I've taken in by beings with a lot higher understanding than I have. When I first began to take in information and had understandings and had my first few epiphanies, I thought, oh, everything I received from a spiritual energy had to be truth. It was golden. So I had a new truth and I walked in it. Well, energies off the planet, extraterrestrial, super consciousnesses, all these other energies, they do have some sense of truth, but all of their truths are affected by and reflections of their experiences in all the lifetimes they've lived in all the places they have and their search toward their higher spiritual development and the creative energy. So who's to say that I'm not ahead of some of them or behind some of them, or that there aren't points they make that I didn't consider, because what I have is a piece of it, and there's a piece bigger than what I even recognized. And it makes me go back to that children's fable, that Hindu fable of the elephant and the 7 blind men, these sages that come forth to feel the elephant and to describe it so that they might bring forth their wisdom on what an elephant is. And of course, if you're familiar with the story, they all touch different parts. One the ear, one the trunk, one the side, one a tusk, one the tail, you know, all the different parts of the elephant. Well, only having that one piece, they describe it, you know, between a rope or a spear or a wall or, you know, whatever it is that they've grabbed onto. They begin to describe it as that, and they're not going to hear any of the description because they physically touched it, and in their mind they know the truth. But they only know a piece of the truth because they've only touched a piece of the elephant. Same for me. At any given time, I'm learning new things every day. Downloads, meditations, new clients, new concepts, things people say they don't even realize that resonate and make me come back and rethink points and open it up. Nothing to subtract some of my bigger picture understandings, but certainly things that refine my understanding of how we got to where we are in our evolution of thought, and what I need to really understand to comprehend the picture on a bigger scale. So as we go into our race thing, of course we all have a belief. We're white, we're black, we're Hindu, we're Indian, we're whatever, we're Christian, we're Muslim, we're Catholic. We have that, and we think that we come from a long line of Christians or African Americans or black slaves or, you know, Indian, American Indian, Irish, whatever it is, and we want to feel that strength and wave that flag and feel the energy and connect to that because it gives us a strong sense to belong, and we do seek that. We do want to belong. The truth is we've always belonged to the humanity of oneness, the concept of oneness, but not necessarily to the humanity of a physical body or the way that our body looks on this planet as an earth body of the humanoid type. But we have always been seeking to reconnect ourselves to oneness, to find a place to join back to the whole truth. That is what we have been doing. So I'm not saying not to have racial pride or religious affiliations or be connected to your family and enjoy Sunday dinner. I'm saying be aware that there's a bigger picture of oneness that we're all part of, way bigger than that which we walk into and vibrate in on the earth's surface as the truth. There's so much more than what's here on the earth. There's so much more that's what's here in this space. I have had some opportunity to see beyond it and to look beyond what we know here on this planet, and without going into that at this time or going into spaces not yet ready to be filled, trust me, there is so much more to comprehend and understand, that if you believe everything that you need to know can be answered by this one lifetime, and you don't have to look outside of it, you know, you could be disappointed. However, you can't be punished, you won't burn in hell for it, and you're not going to be sent into any kind of fiery inferno. So the truth of the matter is you've got time to discover it. Even if you don't discover it in this lifetime, there's much, much more to discover. So when we come back in the last 15 minutes of this hour-long set of videos, I'm going to try to roll it together, even though this one may have had sort of a rambling tenor to it. I want to go back to the original first series with the dietary journal and touch on the emotions that come up from all these different experiences and affiliations, and kind of give you an understanding of how to begin to direct them. Because if you can't do that, you're going to not have the control that you need.